Rap music mogul Jay-Z revealed as an accused rapist in a civil lawsuit initially filed against Sean Diddy Combs. The two stars, now accused of raping a 13-year-old girl at an after party decades ago. I have 7 shocking details from the suit and what Jay-Z, Combs, and the accuser's lawyer are all saying.
For decades, Sean Diddy Combs and Sean Jay-Z Carter, Bad Boy and Rockefeller, stood as twin monuments to the American dream, symbols of wealth and cultural dominance. They shared stages. They shared success.
Z, of course, is one of the biggest names in rap music, and he has been a longtime friend and associate of Sean Diddy Combs. Now he's being revealed as the name behind Celebrity A in a lawsuit filed by a Jane Doe from Alabama, who claims that Combs and now Jay-Z raped her in the year 2000. And in a bit, I'm going to tell you what both Jay-Z and Sean Combs are saying about this lawsuit, so stay tuned for that. Combs is currently in federal custody, accused of racketeering and sex trafficking, and he's pleaded not guilty to those charges. The sex trafficking charge filed against Combs relates to allegations made by his ex, Cassie Ventura, that he forced her to take part in freak-offs, days-long sex acts with male sex workers. Cassie had originally filed a civil lawsuit against Combs in November of 2023. That suit, of course, was settled in record time within a day. Before that, Combs' lawyers say that Cassie's lawyers had made an offer to them that they could buy the rights to a book she was writing for $30 million in exchange for it never seeing the light of day. Cassie's lawsuit and the subsequent settlement seemed to open the floodgates for other women to file civil lawsuits against Combs. More than a dozen have been filed, including one by a Jane Doe in October. At the time the suit was filed, Combs was the main defendant, and 2 other celebrities were listed as Celebrity A and Celebrity B. Celebrity A was listed as a man and Celebrity B, a woman. Now attorney Tony Busby, after some legal back and forth with a demand letter and dueling lawsuits, says Celebrity A is Jay-Z, whose legal name is Sean Carter. The suit begins. Defendant Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, along with his longtime friend and collaborator Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl at an after-party following the 2000 Video Music Awards. Another celebrity stood by and watched as Combs and Carter took turns assaulting the minor. Many others were present at the after-party, but did nothing to stop the assault. Combs has been allowed for years to conduct himself in this manner without any consequences. The plaintiff says she was 13 at the time in January of 2000, when she said she went to the MTV Video Music Awards at Radio City Music Hall. She didn't have a ticket, so she approached limo drivers who were parked outside hoping to get in. The lawsuit says one of the limousine drivers she spoke to claimed to work for defendant Combs. The driver told her that Combs liked younger girls and said that she fit what Diddy was looking for. And while not allowing her into the awards, the driver invited her to an after-party. The driver stated that he had to drive Combs and others to the after-party first, but instructed plaintiff to return to his location after the event and that he pick her up after and take her to the after-party. While the woman says she was outside the VMAs talking to the limo drivers, inside it was a big night, particularly for Jennifer Lopez, who was at the awards show with her then-boyfriend Sean Combs. They were a hot couple back then, and Lopez won the VMA for Best Dance Video. She was on top of the world that night. The woman claims that night, outside of Radio City Music Hall, she got into a limo with someone affiliated with Sean Combs. That suit says, after approximately 20 minutes, plaintiff arrived at a large white house with a gate U-shaped driveway. Once inside, 2 men asked plaintiff to sign a non-disclosure agreement, informing her that she could not discuss what happened at the after-party. She gave them her name and signed the form, but did not receive a copy. The Jane Doe described seeing celebrities, but those people are not named. Inside the building, plaintiff recognized many celebrities as she entered what appeared to be a large living room or foyer containing a large crowd. Plaintiff attempted to mingle in the crowd and talk to several of the celebrities that she recognized and whom she wanted to see at the VMAs. Waitstaff circulated throughout the room, carrying trays of drinks, and loud music played throughout the venue. Plaintiff observed widespread drug use, including marijuana and cocaine, after attempting to talk to numerous.
They shared the absolute top of the mountain, but they also shared a secret, a shocking hidden connection that is now, finally, being violently dragged into the light after years of careful, calculated silence and mystery. When Diddy's empire imploded under the weight of federal investigations and horrifying lawsuits, Jay-Z was masterful in his detachment. The narrative was simple: their relationship was professional, purely business. Jay-Z, the untouchable businessman, was far above Diddy's gutter-level controversies. That narrative is a lie. That distance was a performance. The truth, the deeply uncomfortable, disturbing truth, is that these two giants are caught in the same exact web, tied together by shared vulnerability and a mutual enemy that forced them into a silent, strategic alliance of desperation. The moment the mask slipped was with the infamous Jane Doe lawsuit, filed by the relentless attorney Tony Busby. This civil action was a grenade that landed right in the center of the music establishment. It accused both Diddy and Jay-Z of drugging and raping a minor.
Approached plaintiff with a crazed look in his eyes, grabbed her and said, "You are ready to party." Combs then threw plaintiff toward a wall, causing plaintiff to fall. Plaintiff got up and stumbled, at which point Combs grabbed her again and threw her on the bed. At that point, Carter began removing plaintiff's clothes as she grew more and more disoriented. Plaintiff was held down by Carter as he vaginally raped her, while Combs and Celebrity B watched. After Carter was finished, he stepped back toward the wall. Combs then stepped forward and vaginally raped plaintiff while Carter and Celebrity B watched. Combs then knocked plaintiff down and attempted to force plaintiff to perform oral sex on him. She fought back, standing up quickly and punching out at the same time, hitting Combs in the neck. Taken aback, Combs stopped his attempt. The allegations in this suit are very disturbing, and Sean Combs is denying the claims being made by the woman, who's now around 37 years old. Combs and his legal team said in a statement, "This amended complaint and the recent extortion lawsuit against Mr. Busby exposes his barrage of lawsuits against Mr. Combs for what they are: shameless publicity stunts designed to extract payments from celebrities who fear having lies spread about them, just as lies have been spread about Mr. Combs. As his legal team has said before, Mr. Combs has full confidence in facts and the integrity of the judicial process. In court, the truth will prevail that Mr. Combs never sexually assaulted or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor." And Jay-Z posted a lengthy statement on X calling the allegations heinous. "My lawyer received a blackmail attempt, called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny," in all caps. "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case." This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these type of theatrics. "I have no idea how you have come to be such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby, but I promise you I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type." Jay-Z then talks about his family and the toll this will take on them. "My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand inexplicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to true victims in the world who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You have made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake physics, will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me that, if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable. I look forward to showing you just how different I am." And lawyer Tony Busby, who filed the suit in the first place, is firing back also on X. "Regarding the Jay-Z case and his efforts to silence my clients, Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He filed his
at an MTV VMA after party in 2000. Diddy was the primary target, but the inclusion of Jay-Z, initially as Celebrity A before being named, was the ultimate signal that the net was widening to ensnare the entire power structure they represented. While Jay-Z fiercely denied the allegation, calling it a blackmail attempt and the lawyer an ambulance chaser, and the lawsuit was eventually dropped, the damage was irreversible. The common thread was exposed. They share a legal target, an attorney who has filed dozens of lawsuits against Diddy and who dared to name Jay-Z. This is the key to the shocking ties exposed: Jay-Z's ensuing legal strategy. He didn't just defend himself, he launched an aggressive, offensive countersuit against the accuser's lawyer, Tony Busby, accusing him of extortion. Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, went to war, not just for his client, but for the principle of defending the celebrity class from this type of legal attack. By attacking the tactic of naming high-profile figures, Jay-Z was engaging in structural self-preservation.
Frivolous case under a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, she sought only a confidential mediation. Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened. I'm very proud of her resolve. As far as the allegations in the complaint filed, we will let the filing speak for itself and will litigate the facts in court, not in the media. I want to bring in Nima Rahmani. He is an entertainment attorney, and he's been following the whole Sean Combs ordeal very closely. So Nima, your thoughts on Jay-Z being revealed as Celebrity A in this lawsuit? I know you and I discussed this a few weeks back.
And Jeanette, I'm not surprised. You and I have speculated, as to who this might be. And I think it was really telling when Alex Spiro and Quinn Emanuel filed that extortion lawsuit against Tony Busby. It's pretty well known that Spiro represents Jay-Z and Rock Nation. So it was the most likely celebrity. And now it's been revealed that the allegations are indeed against Jay-Z.
I think it's interesting, too, because Alex Spiro came out swinging about a month or two ago when something came up about Jay-Z and Beyonce on a Piers Morgan show. And he came out, sent some type of letter to Piers Morgan saying, you need to retract this, get rid of whatever was said about my clients. And he did it lickety split. And then that was kind of a big red flag that Jay-Z was on the offense, or on the defense and on the offense, trying to play a little bit of both. So, but the thing is, Jay-Z is saying this isn't true. He's filed a motion to dismiss this suit. He is not taking this laying down. He is saying, this has emboldened him to not give in and pay one red cent. But this woman is claiming this was Jay-Z and Sean Combs who raped her as a 13-year-old girl. So how do we get to the truth of the matter here?
So what you would want if you are Busby and this now woman's lawyer is ideally you have some sort of corroborating evidence and a contemporaneous report. It can be challenging to bring these types of cases decades later. Now, it's really going to go in one of two ways. And we saw it with Diddy and Cassie Ventura. This is either the first of many lawsuits that are going to be filed against Jay-Z, or this is a one-off. We know that it can be Weinstein, it can be Cosby, it can be Epstein. Oftentimes, abusers abuse more than one victim. And I'm not saying any of this is true, but if it is, there may be more than one victim here. And if others do come forward, sometimes it's hard for jurors to believe one victim in a he said, she said type situation. But when victim after victim is telling the same story, of physical and sexual violence, that's very hard for jurors to overcome.
We still don't know who Celebrity B is. There's been a lot of speculation about that. We don't know who it is. We know it's a woman, and she so far has not been unmasked. Tony Busby has not revealed Celebrity B's identity. What can we take away from that?
So Celebrity B, there's a lot of speculation out there. I mean, obviously we know who Diddy was dating at the time, and I think that's who a lot of people think it was. But, obviously we weren't there, and it's just innuendo and rumors right now. But that individual from
that directly benefited Diddy. Every legal blow that Jay-Z landed against Busby served as a warning to every other accuser in the Diddy cases. Mess with one of us, and we will crush your legal representative. This highly aggressive, Coordinated defense strategy is the clearest evidence yet of a strategic, dark bond forged not in friendship, but in the panic of shared liability. Their legal war rooms were working in tandem, fighting a single front war against the forces threatening to expose the secrets of their culture. But the ties run deeper than just the current litigation. We are talking about the systemic complicity that characterized their shared rise to power. Diddy and Jay-Z were the architects of the mogul rapper persona, and they both operated within the same rarefied, opaque world of extreme wealth, celebrity, and unchecked access. Sources have long pointed to overlapping financial structures and the same high-powered financial managers and lawyers who worked to shield their assets and activities from public scrutiny for decades. The threat of Diddy's financial empire being complete.
Latest with him. Ever since he was officially named in the lawsuit, things have been kind of crazy, with a legal war of words between his lawyer, Alex Spiro, and the accuser's lawyer, Tony Busby. Jay-Z, whose legal name is Sean Carter, is being sued civilly by a Jane Doe from Alabama, who claims Sean Combs and Jay-Z sexually assaulted her at a VMA's after party in the year 2000. Just a quick recap on that case. The woman said she went to Radio City Music Hall because the MTV Video Music Awards were taking place there. Inside, it was a big night for Sean Combs' then-girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez, who won the VMA for Best Dance Music Video. The accuser was 13 at the time. She said she didn't have a ticket, so she hung out outside of Radio City Music Hall with limo drivers. One convinced her to go to a house for an after-party. The woman said a lot of celebrities were at this house and that she drank something that made her feel woozy, and she found a bedroom where she laid down. The suit states, soon after, Combs entered the room along with defendant Carter and a female celebrity, Celebrity B. Plaintiff immediately recognized all three celebrities. Combs aggressively approached plaintiff with a crazed look in his eyes, grabbed her and said, "You are ready to party." Combs then threw plaintiff toward a wall, causing plaintiff to fall. Plaintiff got up and stumbled, at which point Combs grabbed her again and threw her on the bed. At that point, Carter began removing plaintiff's clothes as she grew more and more disoriented. Plaintiff was held down by Carter as he vaginally raped her, while Combs and Celebrity B watched. After Carter finished, he stepped back toward the wall. Combs then stepped forward and vaginally raped plaintiff while Carter and Celebrity B watched. Combs then knocked plaintiff down and attempted to force plaintiff to perform oral sex on him. She fought back, standing up quickly and punching out at the same time, hitting Combs in the neck. Taken aback, Combs stopped his attempt. Now, Jay-Z has vehemently denied these allegations, and since the suit was filed, there have been inconsistencies that have emerged in the woman's story, including the fact that she claimed her dad picked her up that night, but he told NBC News he doesn't remember doing that and it would have taken him hours to drive to pick her up. And the woman claims she talked to Benji Madden at the party, but he was on tour in the Midwest at the time. Well, an old friend of Jay-Z's who has a complicated past with him is now coming to his defense. Rapper Beanie Sigel says the woman should have to reveal her name. Right now, a judge is allowing her to remain anonymous. Sigel and Jay-Z were both artists on Rockefeller Records back in the early aughts. Jay-Z was a partial owner of that label. The two had a falling out. Then Sigel recorded a diss track about Jay-Z in 2009, but the two have since smoothed things over. Now Sigel has spoken out about the lawsuit where Jay-Z is being sued along with Sean Combs by that woman identified right now only as Jane Doe. She claims Jay-Z and Sean Combs raped her at that VMA party back in 2000. Well, Sigel talked about the claim on the Art of Dialogue YouTube channel recently.
You got people like me that don't believe it. You got other people that believe anything. You got some people that want it to be true. Me, I don't know. Yeah, I gotta say it like I don't want that shit to be true. I don't believe that shit. I can't believe that.
Sigel also says he believes the Jane Doe should have to reveal her name.
Who is this? Who is she? Who is she?
She don't have to reveal her identity.
All right then.
Completely stripped bare through legal judgments is a systemic risk to the entire network of wealth management and high-powered legal defense they both relied upon. The mystery is solved. The bond is the shared defense of a corrupt structure. The dark, disturbing truth exposed is that the environment Diddy created, the parties, the alleged coercion. The exploitation was not a rogue operation. It was a cultural environment that both he and Jay-Z, and many others, are alleged to have benefited from and navigated with impunity. The moment Jay-Z was named in a suit that echoed the horrific allegations against Diddy, the decades of mystery vanished. The two kings of New York were caught in the same terrible web. Jay-Z's carefully crafted distance was a calculated shield, an attempt to manage the risk of having his name irrevocably tied to the man who is now behind bars. The moment the mask slipped was with the infamous Jane Doe lawsuit, filed by the relentless attorney Tony Busby. This civil action was a grenade that landed right in the center of the music establishment. It accused both Diddy and Jay-Z of serious sexual misconduct.
Now, remember, at the outset of these litigations, we go through kind of a honing phase where the dispute is sort of narrowed down to certain parties and certain claims. And sometimes the motion to dismiss doesn't get rid of the case entirely, but it gets rid of some of the claims or it gets rid of some of the parties. I see today, by way of example, there's a brand new filing dismissing defendant Bad Boy Records LLC. There were separate claims against that company, and I don't know where all these companies fit in the pantheon of Bad Boy Records, but that company has been dismissed voluntarily from the action. And you'll see that kind of thing at the beginning of civil litigation. The parties and the claims have to be sorted out, and then the case can proceed with discovery.
And we do want to mention to our viewers there that even though Bad Boy Records was dismissed off that complaint, Sean Carter and Sean Combs are both still named there. I also want to talk to you, Rich, about a point that Jay-Z's lawyer made previously, and that was that Tony Busby never even met with this Jane Doe, despite saying in that press conference back in October that his firm vetted all of the claims. What are your thoughts on that, given that Busby is standing behind Jane Doe and the allegations that she made?
Yeah, well, so Busby, or certainly somebody from Busby's office, should be meeting with these plaintiffs before bringing claims. I mean, you should always meet with your client before you go charging into court with a claim, but all the more so when they're salacious, provocative, inflammatory claims like the ones in this case. You do have an obligation to make sure there's a good faith basis for proceeding with the claims. You have to make sure there aren't any red flags that would indicate the claim is false or being concocted, just to extort the parties. You have to do some due diligence. And Busby runs a big firm, and he says he has 120 or so, that was the last number I heard, clients who are potentially bringing claims here. So I'm not saying he had to meet personally with her, but certainly somebody at his firm should have. And I don't know if that happened or not, but if they didn't, I would think they had a little explaining to do.
And do you think it was overly ambitious for him to tout that he was filing 120 lawsuits against Diddy with these big names attached, when really that number was lesser than that? And the only big name that he had added to these various complaints was Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z.
Yeah, well, remember what he was doing there, because that press conference and those announcements, those are not part of any court case that goes forward. No jury will ever hear about that. He was trying to generate clients and evidence. So he went public and said, I'm the guy. If you now, having heard what the world has heard about Sean Combs, if you now have a claim against him that you want to pursue, I'm the best position to do it, because I'm doing the work, I have all these clients. So if you have a claim, or if you have evidence, or somebody else who is at those parties that there should be claims against, come to my firm and talk to me. That was just a long-winded attorney advertisement. And I think that's one of the issues the defense lawyers have with him.
At an MTV VMA after party in 2000, allegations both men have strongly denied. Diddy was the primary target, but the inclusion of Jay-Z, initially as Celebrity A before being named, was the ultimate signal that the net was widening to ensnare the entire power structure they represented. While Jay-Z fiercely denied the allegation, calling it an extortion ploy and the lawyer an ambulance chaser, and the lawsuit was eventually dropped, the damage was irreversible. The common thread was exposed. They share a legal target, an attorney who has filed numerous lawsuits against Diddy and who dared to name Jay-Z. This is the key to the shocking ties exposed. Jay-Z's ensuing legal strategy. He didn't just defend himself. He launched an aggressive, offensive legal maneuver against the accuser's lawyer, Tony Busby, attempting to expose what he claimed was a blackmail attempt. Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, went to war, not just for his client, but for the principle of defending the celebrity class from this type of legal attack.
Watch the VMAs on a Jumbotron. In fact, photographs from that evening show there was no Jumbotron, as New York City had denied MTV a permit. And included, also by Jay-Z's legal team, is a screenshot of what appears to be a video, so it's a still shot, from a YouTube video that is titled 2000 MTV VMAs Red Carpet. And it appears that someone is performing on an outdoor stage in New York, but from that pic, yeah, you don't see a Jumbotron. Then, Spiro continues, and the same paragraph says that plaintiff approached limousine drivers at the VMAs. And by the way, the allegation was there is that a limousine driver had taken her to this party. But, Spiro writes, video shows that the limousine area was cordoned off by police and inaccessible to fans. And included is another screenshot of that same video from YouTube of the exterior of the Radio City Music Hall where the VMAs was being held. And you see limousines outside with police appearing to be on each side, and there are barricades. Now, this accuser did concede to NBC that she has, quote, made some mistakes in her retelling of the story, but she stands by her account, saying you should always fight for what happened to you, you should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself, you should never let what somebody else did ruin or run your life. I just hope I can give others the strength to come forward like I came forward. But obviously, Jay-Z and Spiro disagree, right? And they say in their memorandum, confronted with those glaring red flags, a competent and ethical attorney, again talking about Tony Busby, would have not only omitted the many erroneous allegations from the complaint, but also completed a thorough and careful vetting of the core assault allegation before affixing his or her signature to the complaint. Abiding by that ethical duty was especially important here, given the defamatory character of the assault allegation and the near certainty that the complaint would generate massive publicity in light of the identity of the defendant, inflicting irreparable reputational harm and forcing him to explain to his own children that he had been falsely accused of assaulting a child. And conducting a thorough inquiry is particularly critical, whereas here, the plaintiff has no corroborating witness for her account and claims that she did not tell a soul about the incident at any point in the last quarter century, including her father, who supposedly picked her up. Spiro continues that a reporter was able to undercut almost all of the events of plaintiff's narrative just 5 days after the FAC, the first amended complaint, was filed, only highlights the complete lack of investigation undertaken by her own attorneys. A simple call to her father, a review of publicly available video footage and photos from that night at and after the VMAs, or a review of publicly available property records would have quickly revealed the implausibility of her allegations. But Mr. Busby has all but admitted that he declined to undertake such a basic investigation. When confronted by NBC News journalists with the series of false allegations in the complaint, Mr. Busby sought to cover for his utter lack of diligence by claiming his client would undergo a polygraph examination, an offer he seems to have abandoned since making it weeks ago. And he passed the buck, stating that another unnamed firm had vetted the allegations and that the Busby law firm would, quote, continue to vet claims and collect corroborating data to the extent it exists. So yes, that is true based on the NBC reporting. He said that. And Jay-Z argues that's not adequate. That is, quote, entirely improper, and that it was Busby's job to conduct a factual investigation before he signed and filed this complaint, not afterwards. And Jay-Z and Alex Spiro double down on this, and they make the argument that if you look at how Tony Busby has conducted himself since Combs was arrested and indicted, it shows that Tony Busby hasn't been doing his proper due diligence. Why do they say that? Because after that happened, after Sean Combs was arrested and indicted, they say that Busby apparently published a 1-800 hotline number for potential plaintiffs to sue Sean Combs for abuse. And they say just 2 weeks later, he holds this press conference where he claimed that more than
attacking the tactic of naming high-profile figures, Jay-Z was engaging in structural self-preservation that directly benefited Diddy. Every legal blow that Jay-Z landed against Busby served as a warning to every other accuser in the Diddy cases. Mess with one of us, and we will crush your legal representative. This highly aggressive, coordinated defense strategy is the clearest evidence yet of a strategic, dark bond forged not in friendship, but in the panic of shared liability. Their legal war rooms were working in tandem. fighting a single front war against the forces threatening to expose the secrets of their culture. But the ties run deeper than just the current litigation. We are talking about the systemic complicity that characterized their shared rise to power. Diddy and Jay-Z were the architects of the mogul rapper persona, and they both operated within the same rarefied, opaque world of extreme wealth, celebrity, and unchecked access. Records show that both men, often mentioned together on Forbes lists as the richest figures in hip-hop, relied on similar teams and methods to shield their financial assets and activities from public scrutiny for decades. The mystery is solved. The bond is the shared defense of a corrupt structure. The dark, disturbing truth exposed is that the environment Diddy created, the parties, the alleged coercion, the exploitation, was not a rogue operation. It was a cultural environment that both he and Jay-Z, and many others, are alleged to have benefited from and navigated with impunity. The moment Jay-Z was named in a suit that echoed the horrific allegations against Diddy, the decades of mystery vanished. The two kings of New York were caught in the same terrible web. Jay-Z's carefully crafted distance was a calculated shield, an attempt to manage the risk of having his name irrevocably tied to the man who is now behind bars. The shocking reality is that the downfall of one mogul is now actively exposing the vulnerabilities of the other. The final, exposed connection is that they are both products of a power system that protected them both. And now that the system is failing Diddy, the ripples are reaching Jay-Z's highly managed shores. The music stops for Diddy, but the echoes of his crimes are finally revealing the dark, long-hidden alliances that propped up the entire hip-hop elite. The mystery is solved. The ties are exposed.